So thank you, Dr. Harsh, and thank you, Sentis. And so I have got some cases also to share here. And so this is the first patient. Can you see the slides? And
Yeah.
am I audible?
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So this is the, sorry, this is gone back. Okay. So this is the patient who is a 60-year-old male, and he came with complaints of heaviness and strain during dim light conditions. There was a positive family history of glaucoma and history of ischemic heart disease with cardiac arrhythmia. The vision was 6/6, N/6 in both eyes. Anterior segments were normal, but pressures were elevated. Right eye 28 and left eye 35. Bilateral appositional angle closure was there. Left eye was showing some areas of synechiae in 2 quadrants. So these were the optic disc appearances and the OCT findings, which corroborated that left eye, that even on the disc you can see a superior temporal region. There is a notch and a bearing of the circumlinear vessel, and that is corresponding to a superior nerve fiber layer defect. Right eye more or less looks quite healthy and normal, and the OCT also is more or less okay, though I think some amount of NFL thinning could be seen. The visual fields corresponded, and you can see in the left eye corresponding to that superior notch, you can see a full inferior arcuate scotoma. So obviously this patient was confirmed to have glaucoma, and both eyes were YAG iridotomy was done. Post YAG right eye gonioscopy showed the angle opening sufficiently, but left eye there was one partial opening with the areas of synechiae continued to remain stuck. So prostaglandin analog was chosen as the first medical treatment, and the IOP with the right eye came down from 24/25 to 14/17. Left eye, which was 35, came down to 24/28. That which is more or less expected with prostaglandin. One drug, I don't think from 35, even after iridotomy, because synechiae were there, I did not expect it to come down to target levels. But patient has arrhythmia and cardiac problems. So we decided to avoid the beta blocker, and we added dorzolamide, with which the pressure came down to 20/25, which also was not sufficient considering the damage. And brimonidine, lo and behold, the patient was not tolerating, got severe itching and red eye and follicles. So we had to choose. Now what are we going to do? Are we going to add pilocarpine? Now I have not commented about the refractive status, but it was almost emmetropic. It didn't have much of a refractive error. Can we use pilocarpine or the newer drugs which have come, the ROCK2 inhibitors? Because that is also an option we can add. Or, you know what, everybody is interested nowadays, let's go and remove the cataract first. And laser iridoplasty, famous Dr. Harsh Kumar is the big proponent of that. So that is one thing which we could have done. But when there is synechiae already there, I don't think laser iridoplasty is really going to do much in this scenario. And of course, the standard age-old, which really delivers results in most our cases, is doing a trabeculectomy. So I would like to ask my friends for what they go for pilocarpine. Today's day and age, when you write pilocarpine, even many times I've had the complaint that patient will call and say, sir, this is not available. Then you have to tell him to search around little. Finally, they get it. But pilocarpine usage is dropping in the market like anything. So are we going to use pilocarpine, or would we prefer to try the newer ROCK inhibitor? So what would you like to do, Dr. Pradeep?
Yeah, Manish, again, regarding this patient, I would like to differ a bit. I personally feel that, this patient does not have a 360-degree synechiae. That is what you have mentioned.
No, 360-degree synechiae is not there. I confirm that.
It is only you confirmed that. You said that he does not have a, that is what I'm telling you. He does not have a 360-degree synechiae. You did the PI. Probably you have opened a little bit more of an angle. Okay. But still his pressure has not gone down significantly, number one. Number two, you started him on the PG analog, and then you got the reduction in the IOP of around 30% from the baseline in both the eyes. So when you look at the disc again, I'm going off the track. When you look at the disc again, you see a significant amount of the parapapillary atrophy and alpha and beta zone. Remember one thing, in the angle closure glaucoma, you never see this kind of a classical parapapillary atrophy. So I would say that, probably this patient as a mixed mechanism glaucoma. So if the patient has a mixed mechanism glaucoma, then you have to be a little more aggressive because they behave very abnormally. And as far as you know, if you want to add some other drug, then obviously the ROCK inhibitor, whether it's a Rivaroxaban or Nitazoxanide, in my personal experience, at least the biosimilar molecule is non-inferior to beta blocker. They will bring down the intraocular pressure as an add-on therapy by around 2 to 3 millimeter of mercury, not more than that. So that would not help. Even if you will put this patient on the pilocarpine, the Synagis, the pilocarpine will not be able to open. So it will not be that effective. If the patient is a 60-year-old, if he has some amount of cataract, it is the best option to go for the combined surgery because you have put two options. Number one is a clear lens, and another with micromasis C. So why not both combine together, the trabeculectomy along with the cataract extraction? If he does not have a cataract, then he is the right candidate, at least for the left eye, to go for the trabeculectomy with micromasis C.
Okay, what I feel is that I don't know, Prateek, why to you a mixed mechanism would be more dangerous. To me, the fact that it is an angle closure glaucoma itself means that the chances of blindness are 3 times more than in open angle glaucoma. So even if there was a component of open angle glaucoma, that doesn't mean that it will increase the chances of its blindness, because the chances of blindness in this case of angle closure per se are much higher. So if there's any other component, it doesn't add to its severity per se. And as far as the treatment part is concerned, definitely patients are not comfortable with pilocarpine. Most of the times they cannot get pilocarpine, but it is not a bad treatment for poor people if they don't want a surgery. If they don't want a surgery and there's a clear lens and the vision doesn't go down, many a times pilocarpine can bring it down significantly. But then depends upon how many drugs are you going to add over there. So in the end, I have learned this with gross mistakes on my part at times, that if you leave some of these patients, they will go away. When they come back, the left eye will be PL negative because they have not found the drugs, this thing and that thing has happened. So I think what Prateek said was right, that I think we should go ahead and do a trabeculectomy. If he has got a cataract, we can think of doing a combined, but at least a trabeculectomy is a must.
I just want to ask one more question. Is that pilocarpine, I know that we are not in very much in favor of using it just now, but when in combination with prostaglandin, do you think we can use pilocarpine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
works better.
Practically, it works, yes.
Because there are some experts in this conference itself, I have heard people saying that you should not.
Yeah. Theoretically, they will say that, but practically
it opens a more ciliary phase. So obviously, for prostaglandin, it's more space to work.
I think, Manish, you have another case?
Yes. So this is a 64-year-old. So this is a short case. A 64-year-old male reports for routine examination, well-controlled diabetic, but not hypertensive. Vision of both eyes 6/6 and 6. Again, pressure in right eye 26, left eye 24. Gonioscopy open. Field and disc I'm going to show you. Corneal thickness was not remarkable. The fields showed right eye having a proper superior defect, which was quite close to fixation. Left eye showing a nasal step kind of thing. Here also you can see the discs. These are all abnormally shaped discs, but there are defects seen and pressures are high. And it is matching what we see on the visual field. So initiation of medical therapy was done with latanoprost single drop. But the patient was called back after 2 to 3 weeks. But patient doesn't wait. He comes back with severe complaints, foreign body sensation, redness, fluctuating vision, extremely uncomfortable. And lo and behold, it is quite bad. You get the SPK and patient is severely red eye and you are really upset. This is going to definitely affect the quality of vision as well. So here you have that immediately after starting, we have developed this effect. Probably I am supposing that I had missed seeing the pre-existing ocular surface disease in my rush to control the intraocular pressure, which I think I did not examine the patient that carefully, because when I saw high pressures and field defects, I jumped at putting some drops and getting the thing down. But now this has happened, so we know that using these drops are not going to be safe for the patient. So do we go for preservative-free medications? Is that a good option in such a scenario? Or do we go directly for non-medical treatment like the SLT or the newer MIGS and non-penetrating glaucoma surgeries, or the traditional trabeculectomy operations? So in this case, I immediately withdrew the drug and put the patient on Diamox because I did not want to start anything else, and gave ocular lubricants, hot compresses, and then now you get those lid wipes also to clean the eyelids. And obviously the drops which I gave, the lubricants, were free of BAK and preservative free, and patient improved. Following that, I started the patient on prostaglandin in Novelia bottle kind of thing, so that it was less preservative, and patient did well with that. But this is open for discussion right now.